This has to be the year of strong opposites, guys. For every fantastic movie you see, you are getting at least 5 big budgets, horrible misses that should not have progressed past the writing room. Welcome back to the Bootleg Corner Movie Review Awards once again, and this time it is Mathew Vaughn's $200 million movie, Argylle, a world of spies built within tangled webs by an unsuspecting book author who later finds out she is the protagonist in her own story. There were some big names in this movie: Samuel L. Jackson playing Alfie, Henry Cavill playing Argylle, Dua Lipa playing Lagrange, and also John Cena. First off, I just want to say this was a colossal and emphatic waste of my precious time. Watching the trailer and build up for this movie, I couldn't help but think this would be an attempt at an American version of the Kingsman series, where they will speak enunciated English, try to inject quips and catchphrases at every scene, added with some sci-fi futuristic tech, some comically bizarre action scenes, and so on and so forth. Finally watching it, barely 8 movies in, I just knew my predictions had come to pass. First off, Henry Cavill, only God knows what possessed you to take this script, but then who says no to a quick payday and minimal work? Scene 1 where Argylle and Lagrange meet, they are already talking in catchphrases. There is zero smoothness or feigned calm to their words. Their bodies are stiffer than drum strings, and there is no attempt at normal, regular conversation. They were trying too hard to make each sentence count with the most daft and whack punchlines. I mean, take a look at this rubbish. It is the first scene and all pretense of calm or control have evaporated within minutes. That's if it was even present in the first place. Moving on, Argylle gets found out. He stands in the middle of the room like a man who forgot his lines before calling out loudly for backup as everybody stands mute like they are at a Beyonce concert. I'm like, at this point, I am so tapped out because already there is nothing going forward in this movie that could make sense. The female spy comes out, shoots at Argylle and kills Kira the backup, blows a kiss and speeds off for the bike. Argylle hesitates and after a minute or two begins riding across rooftops in a golf cart, which somehow has gained the features of an armor tank somewhere in between. At some point, I was asking myself, is this an advert or a real part of this movie? Because there is no way, no freaking way that this is happening. And after that, we have a John Cena appearance, after which he snatches Lagrange out of his speeding bike with one hand. I mean, I know it's John Cena, 300 pounds or so of pure muscle and all that, but if you are going to be stupid, please do not assume we are all going to be stupid for your sake. Continuing the theme of dumbassery, John Cena watches the captured agent Lagrange slip a foreign object into her mouth and commit suicide right before his eyes. If you gisted the first part of this movie to your classmates in primary 4, you will have them dumbstruck. If you try this at the university level, you get laughed out of the class, and that is where our problems begin. We have a producer or a director who doesn't know, believe, or accept that his audience are adults with at least partially functioning brains, and that is the only person who can come up with garbage like this on a $200 million budget and expect it to fly anywhere. Matter of fact, this is a travesty that this movie was allowed to go so far on that budget and no one said, yo, what are we doing? In Act 2, we find out that it was just a scene from a book, as if that will make it any better. Ellie Coleman boards the train to see her parents and to overcome writer's block, and on the train she meets an actual spy who informs her that she is in danger and to follow him and his instructions closely. A free-for-all ensues, and it is multiple agents versus one guy who shoots and beats them all up without getting a scratch in the process, not even spilling blood despite the bullets sprayed around the train car. We get some stupid shots of actions mixed with the fictional Argylle and the real spy in real time, while Rachel Kyle makes that stupid face that just irritates me to no end. Every time I talk about movies, I mention the believability test, time without number. This decides and determines if your movie is worth watching. How do the actors look, act, talk and gesticulate? Does it look real or not? Do they look like they are living real life or just actors playing a role? Argylle came nowhere close to even sniffing a remote chance of passing this test. I don't know if or how or why the actors for this movie were selected, but I guarantee you for the bigger names, when they saw the script and the payday, they must have burst out laughing. Seriously, this was their reaction. Moving on, they leave the country, travel to England with an international spy agency on their heels and proceed to act like nothing is on the line. Then it is disappointing action sequences paired with unnecessary slow motion to show us even more of these diabolical fight scenes where they mix the fictional Argylle and the real spy named Moderator in strange poses. It is only God in heaven who knows what they were trying to achieve, because I was just hissing as I watched this. Progressing, Ellie finds out she has been deceived by the Moderator, then escapes the hotel, calls up her parents who happen to not be her parents, and off she goes to France to meet the mysterious Alfie, played by Samuel L. Jackson. This was a quick payday for him, because I do not think he was on this movie for up to 5 minutes in total. The Kingsman vibes are already in full swing by now, and then we get the new punchline where Ellie is really Rachel Kyle and was brainwashed by director Fowler and the other woman masquerading as her parents to get her to write out her forgotten memories in a book. This movie then gave us one of the most Looney Tunes sequences I have seen in live action ever. These slow spiraling lights and slowly repeated commands were used in turning the supposedly best agent into a mental vegetable by the boss of the division. This is worse than Argylle on steroids. I mean, come on. You are having a laugh right now, because there is no way you watch this scene without laughter escaping your lips, no matter how hard you try. It's just incredible how stupid, unserious, and downright foolish this scene is. Now, I've seen rubbish in movies before, but I haven't seen it carried out with such confidence. And the crazy thing is, they are seriously committed to this bullshit. Then they go to meet the Keeper of Secrets, and the moment I saw her, it just confirmed my thoughts that this was a Kingsman reunion / remake. At this point, you could have brought in Eggsy and the boys to wrap up the filming, because there was nothing else they could do in this movie to save it. Ellie Coleman finds out she's on the crime list in the secret files, and her mom, who had been shot point blank at some point, comes back to life with a dumb bulletproof excuse, and Ellie is taken back to the division, where she flips to the other side for a minute, shoots her lover in the chest to sell the act, and flips against the original side as the files fail to transfer to Alfie. Then we get the dumb best part of the film. Ellie, who hasn't shot a gun in 5 years, no practice or nothing, somehow managed to squeeze a bullet through some bullshit space outside the heart and stopping the bleeding with a handkerchief, and so the injury isn't fatal. They even try to play the script of, oh, we've done something stupid, but we are not dumb. We know it's a plot hole and we'll explain it to you slowly. But at this point, I'm just feeling like,
if you don't get that bullshit out of my face, bitch,
get this shit over with, man. Like this, then we have a musical, some shooting, lots of color, then skiing on crude oil with knives as skates, shooting bullets in an oil-flooded chamber without blowing themselves to Kingdom Come. And it's down to the final battle, where the Looney Tunes brainwash track is played again, and Ellie flips on the Moderator, fighting him until Kira, who was supposedly killed in the first act, returns to put a stop to the horrific music and explain her resurrection with the same bullet through the small portion of the chest theory. At this point, I am so zoned out, I'm just skipping scenes because my time has been thrown away throughout this movie. Then past this, we get a cutscene at the end of the movie that I do not even know how or why it was added to. Throughout all the fighting and all the little torture applied to the Moderator to give us Alfie's base, which will roll back a bit, because after all the supposed futuristic tech we've seen in this movie, no one thought to introduce truth serums in the screenplay. The most basic tool of espionage is abandoned in favor of hands and fists just because no one thought about it. Then, to add insult to injury, this is the only semblance of blood or bruising on his face, and this is a common theme throughout this movie for every action scene. In the final act, he gets beaten up and punched around by Ellie, but still no addition to the bruises or injuries, not even a speck of blood is added to the scene for effect. I mean, he looks like he just walked out of a makeup set for real. It is laughable, despicable, and just sad that 200 million of any currency, even if it was cowries, was alleged to have gone into the production of this sorry excuse of a movie. As if the rubbish they've acted in this flick wasn't enough, they somehow sat down together in a room, filmed and edited these reckless, juvenile, and stupid fight scenes as if to dare the studio funding this movie to do something about it. Spraying color and dancing while shooting hapless bad guys, and here this uniquely stupid sequence where she uses knives to skate on crude oil without causing a spark to end this fast once and for all. I mean, not even the Jet Li movies of old, famous for their film tricks, could come up with such nastiness. And this is where they tell us $200 million was spent in filming and editing pirouettes done in crude oil while using knives as improvised skis. She even manages to spray bullets without missing a single mark, even though the multiple gunpowder sparks should have ended this miserable affair a long time ago. Argylle Conway was played by Bryce Dallas Howard, and she failed the believability test woefully. I do not know whose idea it was to cast her in this movie, because only God knows what goes in with that process. But she shouldn't have been within 100 miles of this movie unless she was playing a bookkeeper or a lady next door. Matter of fact, there was no one in this entire movie who did themselves justice. Argylle Conway looked like someone who should be in soap operas or something. Henry Cavill with his rubbish hairstyles and velvet suits. I do not think John Cena said up to 5 words in this movie. Samuel L. Jackson had a pointless little monologue at his introduction, but other than that, he was watching a Lakers game on TV. So this was just a sad, bad, and entirely unremarkable movie. Mathew Vaughn, applause to you for finding a studio to blow $200 million on this absolutely empty movie, and it lets me know that anything is possible as long as you have right connections. Argylle as a movie, nothing to write home about. An outrageously expensive but cheap knockoff of the Kingsman series. Too much English, stained with catchphrases, slow, clammy, and unrealistic fight scenes, an okay plot, some decent plot twist, but ultimately failed by the directing and screenplay. This was a 1 or 2 over 10 or at best, a colossal waste of time. The big actors saw this for a quick payday and took their check for it, and at no point in this movie do I think the budget was justified. This is still the Bootleg Corner. Check out our other content. Don't forget to subscribe. Keep it locked in, and bye for now.